I'm gonna spend the next 7 days building the city of Atlantis using thousands of Legos. And once it's finished, I'm gonna sink it underwater to see if it survives.
Oh my gosh, oh, it's going down, guys.
We're gonna start by laying out the base using tan pieces on this giant platform. According to legend, Atlantis was a beautiful island kingdom built thousands of years ago. Its gorgeous architecture shimmered in gold and silver, and the Atlanteans had accrued enormous wealth. Stories of their power and influence spread throughout the ancient world. But over time, the people of Atlantis changed. They became corrupted by greed and power. And in a single day and night of misfortune, the island disappeared into the sea. And no one has yet to discover Atlantis after years of searching. But I want to recreate it and see what it would have actually been like to explore the lost city of Atlantis.
I went ahead and just added some more variety to this terrain, so we got some rocks up here, and I even added this little area back here. It's supposed to be water, so that we can add a dock.
So now the next step is to start building the city on top of this. We'll have like a market going through the middle. I want to build the palace so it kind of arches over and goes up with a bunch of cylindrical columns, which I think will be really cool. Just anything I can to make it as realistic as possible. But it is the end of day 1, which means we only have 6 days left before we're actually gonna flood this thing. So my goal tomorrow is to start building up the buildings and structures that's gonna actually make up the city of Atlantis. All right, it's day 2. And to get some inspiration for how I want my city to look, I'm turning to Lego Atlantis. And this set titled The City of Atlantis gives me a pretty good idea for what I wanna do with the style. And here it is.
As you can see, how they styled this is basically a bunch of cylindrical pillars. They have gold highlights, and they even mixed in some tan with the white pieces to make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna try and replicate that to make it look like my version of Atlantis.
And since I'm not really sure where to start,
I made a list. Let's start by building a wall around the entire kingdom.
So for the wall design, we have 2 colors of pillars, and we're gonna stack them. Then in between those, we'll just have a couple of these arches spaced out in between regular looking walls. And we'll splice in some tan to blend it together for good measure. The trick is not to get too invested in what you're doing, because it could change in like 5 minutes when you decide, hey, this looks like crap and we need to build something else. That looks Atlantean, right? And the nice thing about this is that you can move it around to shape it and angle it. So then we just gotta take this design and put it around the entire city. First bits of the walls, right there. And then we'll build an arch in the middle with some really nice big gates. There we go, that's looking good. And since we designed it the way we did, it actually fits and bends around the whole thing. So now I just gotta integrate these walls into the ground using some bricks and tactical connections so that it can actually connect at an angle. But the first thing I wanna build in our city is a bank. All right, so for the base, I'm gonna start by adding a layer of 2x4 bricks around the whole bottom. And then from there, we can add some big round pillars all the way around the front of the building.
And since this is looking a little bit bland so far, I'm gonna add in some masonry bricks. I think just adding a few more colors to this palette will make it a little bit more exciting. And as you can tell, there's not a whole lot back here in the vault, and that's because this is just the city bank.
All the real treasure of Atlantis is gonna be stored in the palace, which we're gonna build later.
So now let's add this into our city.
I'm really gonna try my best to detail as much of these interiors as I can, and we're gonna make sure to put cameras inside these buildings when we actually sink this underwater. That way we can see what happens in slow motion to all these minifigures, which I think is gonna be really cool.
And now that we have our bank in place, we can lock that down.
And I can finally introduce you to the main character of this video. This is Chell, an explorer who just happened to stumble upon Atlantis while searching for the Bermuda Triangle. And now that the bank is finished, Chell can apply for a loan so he can purchase one of the newly finished houses, because he's thinking he might stay a while.
Which, as you can see, I've already built over here on this side. And these are just some simple houses with a chest, a light, a bed, and a water source.
We'll keep an eye on Chell throughout the video, but next, I want to build a port
right here where this water is. And for that, we're gonna need some boats.
I just discovered this really cool way to build boats. I'm thinking rock pieces. If we put 2 of these together, we can make a boat, as you can see. We just have to find a way to connect these. We just take a few of these little snot bricks, like this, and then we'll add some plates in between there, but now we got a boat shape. And we can do that with different sizes as well. Like these pieces too. We can just add a few plates on the top, and we have another boat like that. Let's see how many of these we can build up. Take this from the front of the Atlantis set and slap it right on there.
All right, it's looking pretty good.
Okay, so the port is finished. It's the end of day 2. I put down a lot of bricks today.
Quite literally, all the brick builds on top of this we did today.
But overall, it's looking really good. We got a lot more work to do tomorrow. Time for sleep. Day 3. Today I want to work on the gardens, the observatory, and the bathhouse. For the observatory, I want to build a giant tower, so we're going to start with a rock base. And I'm going to use these giant, big, ugly rock pieces and arrange them to make up the base of this.
As you can see, I'm just making this up as I go, and we have the first floor. We got some stairs leading up to that, as well as some stairs leading up to what will be the second floor, inside there. And then we're gonna build this up a bit taller with a big observatory dome on the top. I'm just adding random little details and pieces of furniture to the inside. Now on the top of this, we just put our little telescope so they can observe the stars. We can put this guy back in our little seat here and close it off with our roof, just like this. And there we have our observatory. Let's install this thing. All right, I'd say this looks pretty good. I think we have a bit of a serious problem. It needs something. It needs some color. It's so bland. Like I don't know what to add to it, but something doesn't work. Also, I called my mom, because she's an artist. We both kind of agreed that this navy blue would look really good in conjuncture with the green. Plus it's kind of nautical themed, so I think that'll really help. As well as adding some green vines down the wall and some foliage on the inside. I'm gonna do that before I do anything else, because I think that'll really turn this around, because it just doesn't look bright and lush, and that's what I think Atlantis should be. I wanted to put a golden gate in the front of Atlantis, except the one that I found is about this tall. We need it to be like 20 studs tall. So I'm gonna actually build that up using gold 1x1 round bricks. And hopefully we can get something that gives off a strong image for the front of Atlantis. Aha, this is looking pretty good, check it out. As you can see, we have our golden gates at the front of Atlantis. They even hinge open and close, just like that. Well, that's wrap on day 3. I got, a little bit further. I need rest. I need to rest because my creative juices aren't flowing. And that usually happens when I work too long, so I need to sleep. I'll be back tomorrow though. All right, start of day 4. We got some serious catching up to do from yesterday. All right, next up, the bathhouse. Back in the day, a bathhouse was essentially a large open room where citizens would come to socialize, bathe, and otherwise exercise. And so what we're gonna do is use these 2 plates as our water and then build up the base all the way around this. That's kind of how it works, it's just a large house of water. And we'll lock those down with more plates. I'm gonna put some of these cloudy, transparent panels on top of the blue like that to make the water actually look like water. And then I'll just build up some cool looking walls around the outside of this with lots more pillars. And then we got some more important buildings to make because we gotta catch up from yesterday. I don't know how comparable this is to like a public pool, but I figured these guys in here might want some privacy, so I installed some snot bricks on each of these pillars so we can attach a bunch of leaves right over the tops of those and kind of close this in a bit. Then I'm gonna add one more floor to this just to give some height, and we'll figure out what to do with that as well. Now we just gotta fill this little section in the roof because I'm building it out of bricks on its side because I'm running out of plates in these colors. Grab our fancy little stud measure here, and we have 32 studs, 16, 32 by 16, and we'll build that out of this guy. To build up this Atlantean architecture, I'm just basically trying to get like these weird triangular or like oval shapes. So what I'm trying to say is I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna throw it together and see what happens. Look at that, guys, we measured perfectly. Now we have our roof. This thing drops right in there like that. And we can put our next level on right here. Let's put this on here. And now this sits right on top of this. Like so. This snaps down. All right, there we go. That looks pretty good. All right, let's add this guy into the city. And I'm pretty sure where I want to put this is right back here. We just got to kind of level the ground off. All right, so our bathhouse is in place. And look who's the first one in the water. Chell was taking advantage of the city's new bathhouse when he spotted something unusual. What looked to be a hidden treasure map floating in the water. He had never seen anything like it before, but since he's an explorer, he figures he ought to check it out. But with our bathhouse complete, it's time to move on to the next building. The next thing I want to build right here is a library, and I'm gonna build just a tall tower with a cool spire at the top to put right here in the city. And then it'll finally be time to build up the palace, which is going to be really, really big. Nothing super new for our library. We're just gonna build it tall and round like the observatory. Check it out, guys. I'm just making up some little bookshelves here. It's actually really easy. All you have to do is get a tile and then a few 2x2 plates. And if you stack them on top of each other, you can actually make a really easy shelf that looks like it's full of books. So I'm just gonna build up a couple of those and some other interesting items and fit them inside of our open air library here. This thing's looking really good. That's a good solid connection too. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, cool. And now we have our library installed in the city. And coincidentally, Chell's map leads right up to the front door.
And while he's busy searching the library, I can tell you about this. This is our new book. It's called Finding Ooblot, a search and find adventure book packed with hidden characters, extremely detailed scenes, and a hidden crash test Ooblot on every page. Like this page specifically, which is actually for this video. You can see we're sinking Atlantis, and we have CT hiding in here somewhere on the pages. We even have this Scuba Ooblot right here. We're also launching Scuba Ooblot for this video. This guy comes with all the parts you need to build him and a detailed video where I show you how.
He even has an oxygen tank, flippers, and a little sign he's holding because he's scared of sharks.
So link down in the description for both of these. Our team worked really hard bringing these ideas to life, and we think you're really gonna like them. Now, let's get back to it. After seemingly hours of searching, Chell finds a golden book containing an important looking key and a small coin embossed with an upside down crown. I don't really think he knows what any of that means yet, so we'll check back in.
The next thing I want to add in here before we add the palace is a city market. And I want to do that right in the center here because the palace is gonna arch and come up over it.
I think it's gonna look really cool. I just gotta build a bunch of little tiny minifigure things to fill up the market. So I'm making like animal habitats, tables with like drinks and stuff on them. And then I can just kind of speckle these around the market and create a path using some plates or tiles. Because I'm trying to make this thing as realistic as possible. All right guys, I have just completed the market. Something about it just feels a little bit more like community-esque. But I think adding this in the middle with all the people where they're selling different things and stuff like that just makes it a bit more fun and a bit more realistic too. It's now the end of day 4, and with that built up, we can move on to building the structure for the palace. It's the start of day 5. I'm gonna try and finish this whole thing today, meaning the entire palace built up in the middle.
So I've done a bunch of sketches and I kind of have an idea for what I want.
But like seriously, at this point, I just need to pick one and go with it. So I'm just gonna start building, see what comes out of it. One thing I do know is I need to start with 4 pillars on the ground around the market to actually bridge up over it and create the structure for the palace.
And Chell is still trying to figure out where that key leads to. Maybe building up the palace will help him out. Okay, so we got the first base pillars in here. Now we gotta go up, and I'm gonna create an arch that goes from one to the other, which if you think about it is kind of an advanced technique. I mean, we have some crazy architecture around the world, but stacking blocks in an arch had to have been extremely difficult without the use of cranes or large machinery. But now that we got the base built up, we can start building this vertically with the rest of the palace. And I'm gonna use a bunch of pillars and cool things for this and just make it look as spectacular and fantastic as I can.
Just gotta push through and keep going because we're on the final stretch of this. I just finished this top part here, and as you can see, I've added a bunch of cool artifacts made of gold, plus the center of the structure, which has this cool Atlantean crystal on top here.
Which means it's finally time to stack the final pieces on Atlantis and finish it up.
It's actually a lot of fun. Check it out, guys. Now we can take this thing, and because I added this...
It's actually a lot of fun.
I'll be rebuilding this.
This is so cool, you guys. Atlantis actually turned out so much better than I thought it would.
There's details upon details inside this thing. I worked so hard over the last 7 days straight to put this thing together, and it's finally finished. So now it's time to actually sink it. But first, let's finish out our story. As Chell explores the brand new palace that's just been erected, he notices something interesting. An upside-down crown on the 2nd level. It's right outside the heavily guarded treasure room, but he decides it's worth the risk, so he sneaks in. The room is stocked full of valuable artifacts, but at the center of them all is a large stone containing a bright triangular rock, and right below it, a keyhole. Chell is just about to insert his golden key when he hears a voice. It's a man, dressed in strange black attire. He's staring at him, speaking into a small device. Before the man can get any closer, Chell inserts the key, and that's when the world starts shaking. That's what sinks Atlantis? Wow. And one last thing we gotta do before actually putting this in the water, I wanna add a few more of the sets from LEGO Atlantis, like some of the buildable creatures and a few of the submarines and explorers to the city. And I'm actually attaching them with fishing line to hover a few inches or a few feet off of the city to make it look like they're actually floating around. Props to my good friend Christian, you guys might remember him, he came up with that idea. We also have a few GoPros in there, so it's time to get it loaded up on our crane and sink it in a pool full of water. All right guys, we're ready. We're gonna actually sink this thing and we're gonna lower it down into the water and see what happens.
Oh my gosh, and this just barely fits on our platform. Okay, we're coming in. This is it, the moment we've all been waiting for. We're gonna sink this thing and see what happens. Dear Jesus, I pray that this works. In 3, 2, 1, here we go, we're going in. We're going in. We've hit the water. Oh, it's going down. Oh gosh. Look at all that air spraying out. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's going down, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh man. We did it. There we go. Look at that. Check it out, guys. Atlantis is completely underwater. Look at this. So I'm gonna grab my snorkeling gear and go underwater, and we're gonna see what's happening down there.
I can't even describe how surreal it felt swimming around the city I built. All the life and structure I'd put into it just reduced to sunken rubble. And destroying something I poured my creativity and passion into really makes me realize how temporary it all is. The Atlanteans probably thought their kingdom would last forever. Now it's just a legend. And maybe that's why it survived all these years. Not because of what Atlantis was, but because of what happened to it. This project was so much fun for me, and even though it's now destroyed, it sure gets me thinking, and I'll never forget the experience.
Well guys, we finally did it. We sunk Lego Atlantis. If you enjoyed this video, check out one of these two popping up on your screen, and I'll talk to you in the next Brick Science. See ya!